Welcome to the Cross the Line podcast. My name is Carlos Smith, and I have another special guest with me today. I am down in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm with motivational speaker Mr. William Hollis. How you doing?
Man, I am so honored for you being here today, King.
Oh, I appreciate you having me. So starting off, I kind of already told people what you do, but for people who don't know, who is William Hollis?
William Hollis is a man that's on a mission to inspire millions, to show the ordinary man that he's truly extraordinary, that we royal, and we come from royal places, and we just been detached from our first existence of civilization. You get what I'm saying? So for me, I think William Hollis just represents a young king that want to save the souls that's dying inside. You know what I mean? That's it, man.
So just watching your story growing up, man, it's touching and it was tough. So just tell people, like, where were you from? Like, what was your childhood like?
I was born in Pontiac, Michigan. My childhood was like a lot of inner city kids, either moving back with their grandparents or back with their mom. My mom struggling with a heroin addiction caused me to switch homes back and forth to my grandmother's house. Never really feeling like, never having really that sense of like family and foundation. I feel like since I was a little kid, I've been fighting to save my family life ever since I was a little kid. And it was a situation one winter, man, that changed my life. And it was one day, I was riding down the road. We was walking to school. My mom was walking me to school, 3 inches of snow. And I saw my father ride past, and he looked over, he looked my mother in the eyes. I saw my mom start to cry because he had another woman in the passenger seat. He just keep going. And at this time, we young boys, we see, we probably saw our mama cry before, but it hurt us because we don't even know what to do. We so young.
Right. And
that forced me to grow up fast and just put the pedal to the metal, the metal to the pedal, you know what I mean?
And so you were the only sibling growing up? Or
no, I had a brother. I had 2 baby brothers and 1 big sister.
Oh, okay. And I noticed you said that you felt like you said your mom was on drugs, but you felt like football was going to help change your mother's life. Did you feel like that was all you had? Did you put all your eggs in one basket with football?
I mean, football was second. First was saving my mama's life. So when I played football, the stuff that they would see me do on the football field, it was almost like this. I knew that I had to save my mama's life. I knew that person that was sitting across from me, playing against me, he probably went home and had 4 square meals a day. He wasn't eating ramen noodles every single day. So, my whole motivation came from my queen, Shalonda Jones, my mama. You know what I mean? That's that's the person that done all this, man. The reason why I'm here.
So football, did you feel like football was like truly your passion, or you just, like you said, I know you said saving your mom's life was the main priority, but did you really love football, playing football? Or?
Football was a compass. You know what I'm saying? Football was a compass that showed me my direction in life. You get what I'm saying? It was fun. It was nice. It was beautiful hitting people. But when I start traveling the world and speaking to individuals, King, I realized that football is just like a simple game of Uno. It's just a game. You know what I mean? Anything, like all these basketball players, these football players, they get a heart and a soul to it. And the truth is, I don't blame them because it's fun. And it gives you a sense of brotherhood. But what I tell them is, it's a lot of players, older individuals, after they get out of college, they think they're going to the NFL, they think they're going to the NBA, and then they find out that it's harder than what it looks like. Right. You know what I mean? And what they got to realize is that football, that basketball, it don't have a heartbeat. Anything that can't love you back, you can never really truly be in love with it. You get what I'm saying? It's just like a relationship. If that queen don't love you back, man, it's like, you punching against a concrete wall. Absolutely. You know what I mean?
So how far did you actually go with football? Did you make it to college or
no, I made it to a camp. Then I went over to Toronto. End up, making it to a tryout. Getting into the tryout, finding out that, I had my vertebrae was literally cracked. You know what I mean? So I worked through Arena League to get to that opportunity to play the professional level, and all of a sudden it stopped completely. I couldn't touch the field ever again. Literally, dog, I didn't know what to like. It was my entire life, dog. Like I didn't know, I didn't have a backup plan. Anybody who went to school with me knew Will was all about football, but I had no backup plan, man. And I tell everybody, you can look at me and feel that I'm one of the best speakers in the world, or I'm this and I'm that. I am an ordinary king that spoke his life into existence. You know what I mean?
So that moment when it was time to like let football go for good, like what was that feeling like then?
I mean, when I finally decided to let football go, it really gave me my life back. You know what I'm saying? My whole life, I told you, go back to my mother, I was fighting to save her. I never was doing anything for me. So for the first time, God left me with the ability to do everything to focus on me and my babies. You know what I mean? My family. And you know, coming up, I was struggling, man. I was lost. My mama was gone. My daddy was in the penitentiary. You know, never really learned how to be a father. Loving and affection was something that I wasn't really the norm to. You know what I mean? There was a lot of things wrong with me, man, mentally growing up the way I grew up. But it really just boiled down to me discovering myself,
right, and
discovering my purpose in life. And what football did was it gave me an opportunity to truly live life, man. After I lost football.
Right. So who were your mentors like growing up? Like who did you look to? Like
man, I looked up. I got a mix of them. I had hustlers. I had teachers. I had football coaches. I had everyday men, alcoholics, drug addicts. I learned from everybody growing up as a kid because I always was a talker. I love to talk to people. I love to pick brains and learn. That's when I learned that you can learn anything from any soul. Everybody got something to offer.
I remember I saw one of your interviews where you say you talked to your mom and she said she was proud of you and you never let her down, and you could kind of sense like something was wrong. You felt like she was dying at that time, or
it was almost like my mother. She truly looked at me to save her. You know what I mean? A lot of kids say I gotta save my mama. She truly looked at that.
Right.
And I lived my life as a young man, as a man, because I ain't had no time to play no games, go to no club. To this day, I don't care about no club. It's all about business to me. And what happened with my mother was my mother had got to the point where she was waiting and fighting for so long, and I was dealing with my trials and tribulations. I was having a daughter. You get what I'm saying? The mother of my child mother got paralyzed the day after leaving the hospital after my daughter Halo was born. You get what I'm saying? I had to leave school when I'm top 25 inside linebackers for the 2011 draft class and go work a regular job because I had to pick my daughter over my mama. And mind you, my whole life I'm sitting here trying to save my mother's life, and for the first time God give me something and say, you know, you got to pick this princess over your mama. It's time to focus on that. And it broke my heart. And I remember my mom calling me and she said, I'm proud of you. You exceeded expectations that I expected for your life. That special ed little boy that I knew. You're all-American. You're doing all these things. I want you to know that I'm proud of you no matter what. And you made me proud. And not too long ago after that, I flew back out to Michigan. And the last time I saw my mother, man, was in shackles. She ran into a store and took some food or took something. And the last time I saw my mom, I was sitting in the courtroom. I came back home. And my sister picked me up. We went straight to the airport. So my mom was sitting there in shackles, man. And the first thing she did, she squinted her eyes. She looked at me. She said, "That's my baby." And when I say, dog, that pain I felt that day, it awakened something that not too many human beings on this earth can understand when it comes to greatness. You feel what I'm saying?
And you said that was the last time you saw her?
Your mom? That was the last time.
So what was that feeling like when you found out she had passed? Or what were you feeling? How did you find out?
I was in Los Angeles, California with my big cousin, Sam Rogers, getting ready to train for an event. And, I mean, not for an event, to go back to school. And one morning I wake up and my cousin come into the room and he say, "Will, your mom passed of a heroin overdose last night." So when I was getting back in school to go back and finish my senior year at Tuskegee University, soon as I saved up enough money, did all these things, when I finally got to the point where I could go back to school, King, I get a call and say my mama died. I ran out of town. So
did you ever feel like you had to like question God, like why is to, okay, you had to you had to give up football, and then your mom was going through this, and it seems like your dad wasn't really around. Did you ever like feel like you had to question God, like why all this had to happen to you?
I don't think I'll be honest with you. I never asked why.
Mm-hmm.
I always looked at God as if, like you directed all this. When I was a little boy, I used to watch my mom pull out her Bible and read the Bible, and that's what taught me how to read the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And I trusted God. I always gave God. He said, "If you trusted me, He gonna give you everything you could dream of, you can imagine."
Mm-hmm.
And what I did was I had that whole way faith, dog. Mm-hmm. Not that halfway. I talk about it in that little clip that went viral. I always had whole way faith. I gave my all to God and not man.
Mm-hmm. And talk about that a little bit, because I saw that in the video as well, where you said a lot of people have halfway faith. Break that down a little bit.
That halfway faith is, you ask God for something, but then you go ask another man to help do the same thing you just asked God to do.
Mm-hmm.
That whole way faith is you ask God and you sit still. You be quiet. Mm-hmm. You don't move and you trust He's going to deliver. Mm-hmm. Everything they see from this career, from me sitting here right now on your podcast, King. I remember days sitting on the side of a Turkey Hill gas station with nobody looking at me or acknowledging me. That's why when brothers like you or anybody come to me and say, I want to do this project, I want to do this interview, I'm always honored. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? Because that's what I go back when I say, God got to make you rich on the inside before He make you rich on the outside. Mm-hmm. So when you say that whole way faith is trusting in God wholeheartedly that He'll deliver everything that you want, your heart and your mind desire. You feel what I'm saying? And you believe that.
What do you feel like was like the moment where you felt like you had actually like hit rock bottom and everything just seemed like it just fell apart?
The day I was the moment I laid my head on the concrete in Dover, Delaware, homeless. The moment that my head touched the concrete, I had two decisions: fly or die. It's a story about the eagles. When the eagle's nest fills up, the oldest eagle has to jump. Mm-hmm. Even though he has never learned how to fly, he got to jump. He got two decisions: fly or die. And at that time in my life, when my head hit that concrete, that was God throwing me from the eagle's nest. Mm-hmm. He said, "We'll fly or die. Just trust me. I'm gonna guide you."
Do you feel like that kind of, in a way, did you resent people because you felt like you were homeless and you had nowhere to go, and like maybe any other family members never reached out to, or did they even know your situation? But did you feel like you resented them or anything?
I mean, to be honest with you, at this state, at my age and where I'm from, family is family. But this day and age, family is not really the same as it used to be back in the day. You got family that'll cross you out over $1. Mm-hmm. They'll sell some of your most prized secrets or possessions for $1. You get what I'm saying? So when you talk about family, God gave me people outside of my blood. He gave me some of His angels, some of His soldiers, and they love me, man, and they treated me like family. Family is who's there for you, bro. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
How do you keep from everything you've been through? How do you keep from keep your spirit up and keep from being broken down and giving up?
I come from nothing. Everything else is extra. Everything else is beautiful. Mm-hmm. When I came to Atlanta, Georgia, man, every time I step out in Atlanta, Georgia, I feel like I'm in Disneyland. I'm safe. I feel good here. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I feel good here. I come from a place where it's just chaos. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's a different type of chaos in Michigan. You know what I mean? Everybody say, yeah, we the hood. But man, it's different in Detroit, man. It's like a dark cloud over the city all the time, man. All the time, even in the summertime, dark clouds over the city, man. And like I said, man, I'm just thankful for life every day. I come from nothing. Everything I gain for the rest of my life from now on is a blessing. It's a good thing.
I see one of your quotes that I really like is you said that your best gifts come from the bottom. Mm-hmm. Talk about that a little bit.
The best gift come from the bottom. It's pretty self-explanatory for some people who heard the Young King speech, but it's it's young babies at the bottom of the world, in the bottom of the world, man. that may never be seen. You know what I mean? May never ever get discovered because they don't know that they're the best gift. Mm-hmm. Just because you placed at the bottom don't mean that you don't belong to the top. So when I tell people, when you look at some of the greatest people, Oprah, Maya Angelou, Miles Davis, some of the greatest of all time, they come from the bottom, man. Mm-hmm. They come from nothing. Because if you don't feel the burn of the bottom, if you don't feel that pain of having nothing, God won't give you greatness. Mm-hmm. You gotta feel that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You gotta feel that. I tell people all the time, who's greater? The man that stands on top of the world with $1 million or the man that stands on top of the world with nothing but his gift? Who greater?
Nothing but his gift. So talk about, you're saying laying your head on the concrete and everything. And yeah. I remember you also said at one point you thought about taking your life. You had the gun ready, and then all of a sudden you went and spoke to a school. How did the public speaking thing actually, all of that come together?
Man, I was down in Reading, living in a hotel, practically homeless, living off the football. I coached the football team down there. We in the hotel, man. I'm having suicidal thoughts, not knowing where my life going, man. I can't play football. I'm watching it every day. That's hard. Coaching it, it's cool, but I'm still the same age as every player in the locker room. Mm-hmm. And it was very stressful, man. But one day, man, I just had my mental depression just took over me, man, and I said I got to do something. And I decided to go over to a school called Reading Intermediate High School and volunteer. I volunteered. Within 20 minutes, kids was in tears. 30 minutes walking back to the hotel, man. I get a phone call and they say, "Will, how much you charge to speak?" 4 years later, you see what you see. Made history in Milan. As the first speaker to ever speak during Milan Fashion Week. Spoke for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 100 million views on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Growing into a YouTube sensation as far as motivation-wise. And the beautiful blessing of it all, though, I did it all, literally, from my iPhone and a voice memo and a pillow in the corner.
So you feel like the public speaking is more of your true calling instead of football, or do you feel like you found your true calling yet?
I'm doing what my calling is. Mm-hmm. I'm doing it, King. It's self-evident to the world.
Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about the Guns Down Crowns Up tour that you're actually on right now.
The Guns Down Crowns Up tour is a tour that I put together. It's free. It's combating mental suicide amongst African American men. Mm-hmm. Also talking about gentrification and also talking about working for your purpose and not the money. Mm-hmm. Basically, I feel like our generation has lost our souls to the dollar bill. Mm-hmm. And what I got to do is I got to get a lot of these babies to take that exit. And when I talk about exit, I talk about just like when God taking you down that road and you think you can make it to that next exit, go to that gas station, but you run out of gas. With Guns Down, Crowns Up, I'm trying to make you take that exit now, young king, because in your life, it's going to be murder or the penitentiary. So my mission is to basically talking to these kids, speaking to these kids. I live that life. I used to take trips to Las Vegas with my father to drop off heroin and dog food and all these crazy things. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? So I come from that. But I also know it's a different path. And that same education that you got in the streets, you can apply to a legitimate business and save your family life and create generational wealth for yourself. And
something else you said, I had it in my notes, you saying to work for your purpose and not the money. A lot of times today, we get caught up in just working and settling at a job because it pays the bills and we get caught up in it. But what do you tell people who are afraid to step out and go after their dreams, but instead they just stay at a job? What do you try to tell those people?
I tell people just like this. It's a lot of bitter exes out here, mm-hmm. and it sounds crazy when I say that. I say bitter exes, mm-hmm. because I look at your dream as your girlfriend or your boyfriend. As a man, if you stop loving your girl, she's gonna look for it somewhere else. Mm-hmm. That's the same thing with your dream. Mm-hmm. Once you neglect your dream, you don't give your dream no love. If you don't cater to it, if you don't show it that you appreciate it every day, she's gonna leave you. You gotta watch another man walk with the love of your life for the rest of your life.
So I know a lot of times, I constantly say about going after my dreams and everything. Mm-hmm. I had to bet on myself and invest in myself. Mm-hmm. And it's hard sometimes it's hard for people to do, and they feel like they don't have the support or the people behind them to push them in the right direction. What do you feel like is the biggest issue starting off in our community, in the black community, what is the biggest issue for our people?
Poverty.
Mm-hmm.
Poverty. Everything you see going on in America right now is poverty. The reason why people get up and sell dope, poverty. The reason why people go into cars and break into them, poverty. The reason why people rob banks, poverty.
Mm-hmm.
People ask me all the time, Will, why are these kings out here going to jail, murdering, doing all this stuff? Why they doing that? Because they trying to live for a moment. They were born in hell, and they want to make a dollar any way they can to just live for a moment because they know they're going to die young. Mm-hmm. The life they live in, they know they're going to die young.
What got you to the point to where you love to call people the kings and queens that they are, which I absolutely love it. And I call my son king and my daughter princess, and they're gonna grow up to be queens. But what got you to the point where you believe in just calling everybody kings and queens?
The first depiction I ever got was from the Remember the Times video for Michael Jackson and Eddie Murphy. Used to be my favorite video. Me and my brothers used to dance to it every time it came on BET. And I always loved the way it looked, royalty. And as I grew up into a man, I did more research on royalty. And when I lost my mother, I realized this about all kings. Before a man becomes a king, he must first take a loss. You can't become a king until you take a loss. Mm-hmm. And when the God took my mother away from me, he gave me the throne. He gave me my crown. I put king on my head, and I vowed for the rest of my life, I'm going to make sure these men in this world that feel like ordinary nothing, I'm going to make sure they feel like royalty and know that they kings and know that they valuable and they special.
Is it easy for you to forgive people nowadays with everything that you've gone through? Do you feel like you're at a point now where you're able to like forgive people or anybody that you felt like may have did you wrong in the past?
It's to go back to God. Forgive them. Though they know what they do.
And I love you saying when you said that we didn't come this far to come this far. Break that quote down for me.
I didn't come this far to come. I didn't come this far from Pontiac, Michigan. I didn't come this far from sleeping outside in the tourist last year in the snow. I ain't come this far to bury my 37-year-old mama to a heroin overdose. I ain't come this far to missing all them years with my daughters because I was homeless and dealing with mental depression. Mm-hmm. I ain't come this far to only be here. I want everything. I want $1 million for every tear I ever cried. And I want to give it back to my community and my people. For
this year of 2019, is William Hollis truly happy at this point in his life? Or you still have some heartache and pain that you, of course, losing your mom, that's something you'll never be able to get over. I mean, it's still hurt. But in 2019, would you say William Hollis is truly happy?
I'm so happy, King. I saw all my dreams. My dreams just finally started to come to life.
And doing the public speaking in this new realm that you're in, with like the Eric Thomas and Inky Johnson, some of those guys, I love to listen to. Who would you say are your mentors that you try to talk to in public speaking?
God.
Anybody else? Or do you even look at other motivational speakers, or you try not to pay attention to them because you don't want to kind of get some things from them, bits and pieces from them?
God.
That's the only one.
God. That's who. That all my knowledge that I speak on come from the Bible. That's my life coach. That's my 10X book. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What other? Just a few more questions, and then we'll get ready to wrap it up. What other projects are you working on? I know when I reached out, your team said you were working on a Netflix, something for Netflix. Yeah. But what other? Talk about that project and some other things that you're working on.
Well, I'm trying to work on to finish my documentary for my Netflix series. I don't want to tell the name of it because it's live at the moment. Mm-hmm. But it's coming in the near future. It's going to be amazing. Very inspirational. I'm also working on something with Alabama defensive tackle Quentin Williams, maybe doing some things with him and ESPN. Also got an event in New York with some of the top marketers and social network influencers in the world called the Breakthrough Event. It's also that will be that link will be on top of my Instagram page if anybody sees this and want to make it to New York March 3rd. Man, that's about it, man. Everything is coming. It's coming as it go. I got a lot of things in the works, negotiating in the top of the year. Mm-hmm. But I am in the journey, King. Mm-hmm. I am in the journey. You're catching me at the top flight moment when you take off. You know what I mean?
in the process. Just a few more questions. I know, while we're talking about you, some of the things you're working on, would you ever consider a possibility of maybe getting back into football, like whether as a coach or in that realm, or is that done for you? Like,
I mean, one day I possibly want to coach. I always wanted to really coach high school kids one day. That's something that's a passion of mine. Young boys, young kings, and just helping them navigate through life, man, and just give them love and some guidance. You know what I mean? So that's something I want to do in the future. You know, I don't know what God got planned for me as far as my speaking career and what I'm gonna do there, but I'm just gonna come as it go and make it to all the football schools in America. You know what I mean? All the high schools, all the colleges, and just pour into them as much as I can. Just do what God asked me to do, man.
If you could go back and do something differently from whatever time period, what do you think you could, if you had to look back and do something different, what would it be? Because like you say, you felt like at one point in time you had to choose your daughter over your mom or anything. What would you say you would go back and do differently?
I would go back and I would treat queens better as a young athlete when I was a younger football player. Because I realize how important the queen is now. You know what I mean? Only in the womb of a woman can a man breathe underwater. You feel what I'm saying? That's how powerful the queen is. And for me, man, I go back and try to be forgiving for the black queens that I hurt, the black kids that may have probably felt used or felt any pain from me. That would be the number one thing. I will forgive. I will apologize to every queen I ever hurt.
You think that some stuff, so a lot of people say karma is real, and like some of the things that happen to you because some of the wrongdoing that you've done. Do you say that's karma that came with some of the bad things that happened, or you just say that it's just life just happens?
I mean, as a young man, I'm young. As a woman, as a person, as far as karma, I feel protected by God every day. You know what I mean? I feel protected by God every day, so I don't really look at karma as something that is going to bother me because I do so much good every day. You know what I mean? Every day. So I never really did anything that like hurt people or like physical pain. Right. It was just my own demons that I was dealing with as a young man, and I didn't know how to communicate or talk it out. So I ran away from everything. Right. You know what I mean?
How do you want people to remember you, Mr. William Hollis? Like, you still have a long way to go. It's still a journey, but right here at this time and moment, how do you want people to view you?
I want people to look at William Hollis and believe in God. I want them to know that I started with nothing. I want them to know that I started with nothing. And I prayed every single day. Even when I was in a shelter, I had nothing. Everything they see from William Hollis and the rest of my career, God did it. So if you don't believe in him, I'm going to make you believe in him. I'm going to show you.
A couple more questions and then we'll wrap it up. What is your New Year's resolution, and then what is your ultimate goal?
My New Year's resolution is for the murder rate to decrease in the United States this year. And my New Year's resolution is to become a better father, a better leader, a better young man all around, and save at least 200,000, 300,000 souls this year through my motivation.
And going back to the guns down, crowds up to it. That's part of how you want to help.
Yes, with the murder rate in America, man.
And excuse me. And how do we people who want to break into that city? Can you tell them how to get in touch and
absolutely
for the gun down, crowds up to it?
You can go to the WilliamHollisMotivation.com. This tour is set up strictly through the people of each city. I partner with people in each city, community activists that want to be a part of it, and I just want to make it as free as possible and just get the knowledge out there that they want. One thing I realized about a lot of people, they came out and they took a lot of people money. They was asking for thousands of dollars to come to a city. That's not me. I come to a city, I ask for donations so you can help me get to the next city for free. Even if it was $10 in the thing, I'm gonna keep moving because I'm working for God. You feel what I'm saying? I got that whole way faith, like I said earlier. I'm gonna make it through. But if you really want to get into me right now, it's book WilliamHollis@gmail.com. Book WilliamHollis@gmail.com. That's HOLLIS. And my website, WilliamHollisMotivation.com.
All right, Mr. Hollis, I appreciate you. I know you gotta make some runs. I appreciate you real quick. I know you gave me your email. Tell everybody how they can find you on social media.
You guys can find me on Instagram at William King Hollis, YouTube at William King Hollis, Twitter at Only King Hollis, and again, my website, WilliamHollisMotivation.com, and there you can find everything.
All right, thank you, sir. I appreciate you again. I enjoyed it.
It was an honor, King.
Yes, sir. And I'll stay in touch and keep up. And I like your videos. I find them very inspiring.
Yes,
so
sir.
for everybody who's listening, hope you guys enjoyed it. Till next time, keep chasing your dreams. This is Cross the Line Podcast. Thank you for listening.
Yo, this international motivational speaker, William King Hollis, and today I'm rocking with the Kings, Cross the Line Podcast. Tap in.